She got into 11 competitions that year. She came second in 11. Not last, not unnoticed, just one step short of being remembered. But the moment that broke her wasn't a loss. It was a wedding, her best friend's wedding, where she stood in the back, smiling, while a memory she had buried for 10 years quietly destroyed her from the inside. This is a story about second place, about the slow, invisible damage of always measuring yourself against someone else's life. And by the end of it, you'll understand why the people who seem to be winning are often the most exhausted people in the room. Meera was the kind of person teachers loved talking about. Almost top of the class, almost made the team, almost got the promotion. She wasn't unlucky, she wasn't untalented, she was, by any honest measure, doing well. But Meera had a habit she never noticed in herself. She didn't measure her life by how far she'd come. She measured it by how far ahead Nina was. Nina was her cousin. Same age, same school, same hometown. Different trajectory, at least on paper. Nina got married first. Nina got promoted first. Nina posted vacation pictures first. And every single time, Meera felt something tighten quietly in her chest. Not jealousy exactly, something smaller, something that whispered, "You're behind." You've probably felt that whisper too. Not loud enough to call it envy, just loud enough to ruin a perfectly good day. It started small. Meera began checking Nina's social media before checking her own messages. She started making decisions not from desire, but from comparison. She took a job not because she loved it, but because it paid slightly more than Nina's. She rushed a relationship because Nina had just gotten engaged. Every choice became a reaction. Her own dreams got quieter and quieter, drowned out by a race she never agreed to run, but couldn't stop running either. Her mother noticed first. "You used to talk about your painting," she said one evening. "Now you only talk about Nina." Meera laughed it off. "I'm just being competitive." But that night, she opened an old sketchbook she hadn't touched in 3 years. She didn't recognize her own handwriting in the margins anymore. Why was she chasing someone else's race when she'd forgotten the shape of her own? The job she'd taken to win left her exhausted by 6 p.m. every day, with no energy left for the painting she once loved at midnight. She didn't know it yet, but the real cost wasn't falling behind, it was disappearing. The wedding was beautiful. Everyone said so. Meera stood near the back, clapping at the right moments, smiling at the right people, until her grandmother, 83 years old and unfiltered as ever, sat beside her with 2 cups of tea. "You look tired," she said. "Not from the wedding, from something else." Meera tried to deflect, but her grandmother didn't let her. "You've spent 10 years running beside Nina's life," she said quietly. "Tell me, whose life were you supposed to be living?" Meera opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Her grandmother continued, voice low and steady. "You weren't losing the race. There was no race. You just forgot to ask if you even wanted to run in that direction." There was a long pause. Meera looked down at her tea, untouched, going cold. "Comparison doesn't steal your success," her grandmother said. "It steals your direction." That sentence didn't feel loud. It didn't feel dramatic. It felt like something breaking quietly, the way ice cracks under weight no one can see from the surface. Meera didn't quit her job the next morning. Life doesn't work like the movies, but she did something smaller and somehow harder. She deleted the habit. Not the app, the habit. The 11 p.m. scroll, the silent scorekeeping, the flinch every time someone else's life looked louder than hers. She picked up the sketchbook again, not to prove anything, not to catch up to anyone, just because her hands missed it. Slowly, her choices changed shape. She left the job that paid more but cost her everything. She took one that paid less and let her breathe. People around her didn't always understand. "Nina just bought a house," someone said at a family dinner, glancing at Meera, waiting for the old reaction. Meera just smiled. That's wonderful for her. And meant it. For the first time in years, someone else's joy didn't feel like her own quiet defeat. 2 years later, Meera had her first small art exhibition. It wasn't big, it wasn't viral, 20 people came, but every painting on that wall was something she'd made not to win, not to catch up to anyone, but because it was hers. Nina came too. She hugged her tightly and said, "I didn't know you were this talented." Meera smiled. "Neither did I. I was too busy watching you to notice." Maybe that's the quiet tragedy of comparison. It doesn't just make you feel behind, it makes you a stranger to your own life, running so hard towards someone else's finish line that you never even see your own road. So tonight, ask yourself honestly, whose race have you been running, and what might you discover the moment you finally stop?